Hello, welcome back to another episode of GAPCast. Usually we do reactions to famous people that are talking about gaps, and then we do the framework. But now we're doing a very special podcast impromptu episode with Gabriel Bacal. Welcome, Gabriel.
Thank you.
So let me tell you, this is a Brazilian thing, okay? Gabriel from Brazil, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. But it's a very Brazilian thing just to show up in the United States without letting anyone know that you're coming and having to sit outside with the wind and your hair up. Okay, so I'm going to start. You ready, Gabriel?
Yeah.
Did you tell me you were coming?
Well, I tell, but it was like really close. But
I mean, but did you tell me you were going to be in the United States before you arrived in the United States?
no.
No. All right, there you go. Okay, very Brazilian tradition and culture. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we have to say? Let me introduce Gabriel to you from my standpoint, and then we're going to walk through this. I met Gabriel a few years back, right after he graduated from California State University of Northridge, CSUN. A kid, he's still a kid, he's only 27 now, so he was in his early 20s, when he had gotten his degree in political science. He had just arrived back in Brazil, like fresh off the boat or the plane. Okay, is that right? Yeah, right. And I was working with the, how are you going to say this? The state prosecutor's office for
Criminal justice prosecutor.
the criminal justice prosecutor's office that has a special division run by a woman, an amazing woman named Celeste Leite de Santos. Oi, Celeste. And she had created a program in Brazil that's kind of going worldwide now, which is bringing in conflict resolution, and caring for the victims of crime. So besides just prosecuting criminals, the victims of those crimes are also treated for the victimization, the emotional, the legal, so on and so forth. Gabriel had just gotten back to Brazil, hired to work in the non-for-profit there called Pro Vítima to help the victims as they were establishing this. And Gabriel, I was also working for them, and Gabriel fell into my mentorship at the time, where we applied the same frameworks that we use for GAPTrax, especially for non-for-profits and so on and so forth. And then what happened? He learns too quick. He's too fast. So he was growing, applying everything that was going through in the mentorship. And then we're both Jewish. And then something terrible happened on October 7th, 2023. You had agreed to stay and work and develop the institute. That was your job. You were back in Brazil. You were going to grow this, but you're too good at what you do. And right after October 7th, the Jewish community offered you a position to leave and then go to Konibi to be able to support the Jewish community through the hardest times that our community's ever been through. And then you had a moral dilemma, not a technical dilemma, which was you had made a promise to grow this institute, and now you had an opportunity to leave to support our community. But then he's so good at what he does that he got another job offer to work for the City Hall of Sao Paulo, the largest city in South America, using his degree in political science for international business and commerce development, of which he was at until the end of 2025, just now, a month and a half ago. At the age of 27, this kid, this brilliant young man, has gone up the ladder, and up the ladder. And in each one of these opportunities or each one of these moments, I have to say I'm proud of myself, because we see the framework that we used and how it helped you grow. But my first question is, technically, you're brilliant, but you did not have real life experience when you had the academic, but that real life experience of how to apply. So we use that framework. And then when confronted with an emotional, moral, ethical decisions, each time there was the next step, which is how do you use the framework to gain the courage to be able to take steps forward and not disappoint. So tell me from your side.
So the first thing that is is what are the objectives you focus for your life, for your career. So m- brings you joy? Like, you cannot work without joy. You cannot improve, develop your career goals without understanding what is the central points of your joy. What do you expect, not only for short terms, but from middle and long terms? Like, this is essential. We do this for our personal lives. We do that for professional lives. And the other things are, even if you have a technical abilities, skills, you need to understand what environment you are involved in. The individuals, the groups that are involved, the focus on your job, like how you're going to improve that in your way that you can bring more interpersonal relations. And also, one of the things that were really impressive in all those experiences are, for example, when you focus on your technical approaches and you see things that are very theoretical, very distant from practice, and you can see that in practice by applying those actions, those behaviors, and you see how you're going to manage that, even in ways that you are not planning. For example, I worked a long time with government relations, institutional relations. So how are you gonna deal with people that have different interests, different positions, different behaviors? So you need to understand what they are bringing on, what is their preferences, what are their priorities, and understand how you're gonna achieve that in a common sense, but also to understand how you're gonna create some kind of new project, innovate, and bring your creativity inside those processes.
Which you do brilliantly. So, what I want to try to talk to you about our viewer community and our learners around the world, and we've got a bunch in Brazil now, okay, is I'm just going to ask you, like, we did a lot of framework. What framework did you apply, or what framework helped you the most? What were you missing that as we were going through the frameworks and the mentorship? What helped you structure? What helped you make decisions?
Well, I would say objective key results, objective key goals are essential.
The OKR.
Yeah, okay.
OKRs. So what I'm going to say this for all of you GAPTrax learners, when we get to the OKRs, that is in, if I'm not mistaken, track 3, when we talk about the STOP methodology, strategy, tools, operations, and people. And then we get into the OKRs. And then with the OKRs, which is always the higher purpose.
And I
Yes.
remember in the mentorship, like what we have contact in colleges before going to work is not the same as we have in practice. OKRs are much beyond establishing like a regular objective. I need to do um fundraising, or I need to do, like, it is much beyond. It's where you want to be in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. What is the purpose of your journey? That's something that I have learned so much with you, Debbie, and I appreciate the time, the space, and all that you have.
But you guys, I keep grabbing this mic. Okay. So, but you're talking about the purpose, and we talked a lot about purpose, because, and I'm going to say this, and I say this all the time. All right. I'm going to say it to the viewers. If you do not know what your higher purpose is, your objective key results will never tangibilize. And then you're not going to be able to make your final impact. And when you work with input, output, results, and where are my outcomes? And everybody always wants to work with what's the result? What's the outcome? What's the result? What's the outcome? But if you do not start by defining that final impact, what final impact do you want to make that's linked to your higher purpose? Those OKRs, those objective key results, and those outcomes will never manifest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you now, you're currently unemployed for the last 6 weeks because you chutou o pau da barraca. Chutou o pau da barraca da Prefeitura de São Paulo. Good going. All right. which meant in English that he just left the city hall because but unalignment, not aligned, and you're ready for bigger things.
Yeah.
And then you got a job, an offer for a job interview, and they paid you to fly up here because you're so good at what you do, and you just interviewed, but you don't know yet.
Yeah.
So now, how are you going to use these frameworks to land this new job, which is a huge, amazing promotion if you get it?
Well, the first thing is about pathways. How those pathways can lead me to not only develop my career, but develop new forms of skills, new forms of dreams, because you cannot have a professional life, you don't have dreams, what you're going to bring, and also how this will impact your life. So if you, not only the professional life, I'm talking about personal life, because the idea of separating personal, professional, yes, is important, but also is connected. We are still human beings. We're still people with emotions, with goals, with logic, with objective and subjective issues. So I think like the first thing is how I can bring not only the technical skills that I have. For example, the opportunity is to focus on the risk, on geopolitical conditions in the Americas, all the American continent. How in this changing world, in this world of positions that are different, how can I understand the individuals that I'm contacting with, customers, investors? How are we gonna understand their interests if they are from a financial market, if they are from a productive market, if they are from a political, governmental relations or institutions? How you achieve those actions? So you need to understand the pathways. You need to understand how are not only priorities that they are bringing on, but what are the three main goals or main ways that are going to have greater returns.
You guys, behind camera sits our cameraman and AV guy, Luke, who's smiling right now because Gabriel just basically listed out the entire program for GAPTrax.
Yeah.
Pathways, purpose, impact, object, and people. Yeah, of course. Yes, you got the people. But now my question to you. This might be an answer you don't have right now on camera live, but the question is, what final impact do you want to leave as your legacy?
I think that like this has changed.
Okay.
I have a personal growth, and I think like not, right now I'm in a transition moment. For many moments in my life, I thought that I wanted to have social impact in a more global way. But I see that first, the first impact you need to do is by the people that are more close, family, friends, your business, your institution that you are involved in. You need to get like intensively inside the institution, work hard and bring that, but it also with balance, with like understanding how you can develop your pathways, how you can develop the relations between with other people, how you're gonna develop your objective, not in the OKR way, but how we can lead that in a way that you can contribute principally to those are that you are involved with. Creating a story. It's important to create a story.
I have a really hard question for you. You guys, I'm thinking of these live as I'm going. Okay. It's a hard one. Are you ready? Hard. You're 27.
Yeah.
Let's say you live to 97.
Okay.
70 years from now. And when you're 6 feet under or no longer here on planet Earth with us, okay, at the age of 97, 70 years from now, if you're going to, from your 27-year-old version today, what do you imagine you're going to be remembered for all the pathways and impact? What is that one thing they're going to say? Gabriel Bacal he left, he impacted. What is that?
I think creating communities that are more integrated, that can lead to better behaviors, not only to get better relations. We're in a very complicated time. People are not having great relations. So creating great communities is not only about infrastructure, physical development. It's about also great relations. It's about creating not only common sense or ethical choices, but creating positivity, creating relations that are strong internationally, creating opportunities of matchmaking, of networking, creating new projects, creating actions that can improve quality of life. Like we are all focusing on quality of life at the end of the day. Like this is a universal purpose. We are all trying to create progress in our lives. This is for the people who are close and for people that are we don't know, but we can maybe match, we can talk, we can have some kind of similar identity, similar skills, similar purpose. So, like, this is the kind of world I want. I want a world that has improved in not a new green engineering actions. Like, we are watching a revolution in green action. We are watching a revolution in technological approaches. We are watching also innovation even in community development. Like we are watching also gaps being applied to governmental action, not only for private sector, but also for governmental. I saw in the public sector the improve of para-diplomacy. Para-diplomacy, for those who doesn't know what's para-diplomacy, is the action of local governments action in the global arena. We always think about, oh, let us talk about national governments' involvement in diplomacy, negotiation, in trade, but there is space for local governments, and there is also space for NGOs, for small businesses, for community organizations that can lead also great international partnerships. And I could also say this for other experiences that I had, but the most important is there's always opportunities for greater partnership and development of relationships. Like this is above the physical is what I call the spiritual part of development.
Told you guys like a kid was brilliant. Told you this. So I'm taking away from this, Gabriel, that at the age of 97, you got a long life ahead of you. So at the age of 97, that final impact is having changed how communities live on a holistic human basis, bringing humanity back into community.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Gabriel Bacal lived 97 years as a brilliant political scientist. But what did he do? He brought humanity back to community. And am I going to be here? I'm not going to be here for all of it because I'm 30 years older than you. Oh boy. But yeah, I'm 30 years older than Gabriel, but I'm going to be here to watch a big part of it. I thank you so much for coming.
I just want to say one thing. Like I saw all the actions on gaps, all the work that you were doing so hard, and all your team. Like it is amazing. I recommend, please start those mentorships, start those programs because they are really great. The development, I saw the development in Provitima. It was really great. I saw for myself. I recommend. Debbie, you are a great professional, a friend, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you very much.
You were born for politics. Very good.